Are you ready to get started on YouTube? Are you ready to start making videos, uploading them to YouTube so you can share your gifts or your business or your passions with the World Wide Web? But maybe you're still not knowing what to do and there's a ton of information out there. That's what this video is about. My name's Kevin Colby, and I've put together, you can call it a masterclass if you want, but it's a collection of videos I've done over time to help you do YouTube. So some of the things you're going to learn in this video will be things like how to find ideas for your videos, how to be comfortable on cameras, simple ways to make your first video, even how to upload a YouTube video, and I'm even going to break down some thumbnails so you kind of understand what makes a good thumbnail and why it works for some people. So my hope for you is by the time this video is over, you're going to have all the information you need and encouragement to actually do YouTube. Now, I'm going to encourage you to save this video, add it to a playlist, pause it when you need to, come back, and and if it's really beneficial to you, share it to others as well. Okay, first up, we're going to talk about what to talk about. It's a common question. It's a common stumbling block I see that folks stumble with is like, well, I've got all these ideas. I don't even know what to talk about. I don't know what my niche is or what it should be. So in this first lesson, I want to share a lot of the things that I've done to help me get focused down about my niche and my passion and what I want to talk about. As a quick recap, I had worked at a company for almost 24 years. I was a creative director in television. My position got eliminated. And then I was like, what the heck am I going to do? And, God has blessed me and my family way more than I deserve over time. And at the same time, he's given me gifts and talents to use. And so I was going through this period of what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? And one of the things that somebody recommended to me, I think it may have been Sean Cannell. I forgot who it was, but they said, ask someone what you're an expert at. I don't like the word expert. I just don't. I said that before. I've been introduced as an expert, maybe a specialist, maybe a groupie, whatever you want to call it. And look, if you're an expert in something, that's great. But the idea is ask people to fill in this blank. Put your name in here. I'll use mine. Kevin is an expert at blank. Now, I actually did this, and I did this in 2017 on Facebook. So here's the video that I actually, I'm not going to play it here, but here's the video I actually posted. I uploaded it. I asked the question in there. I think it's a couple of minutes. If you want to see the video, I'll put a link to that down in the description. It's an unlisted video, but if you want to watch it, have a good laugh, maybe at my hair at the time or whatever, that's cool. But you can see. And what I did is I just asked people. I didn't ask them for money. I just said, hey, would you do me a favor? And would you answer this question? Kevin is an expert at blank, just to see what other people said and thought. Was there something I was missing? Now, here's what I did, and here's what I would recommend you doing, is wherever you do it on a social media platform, send out an email or something like that. But for me, like getting it in writing, I went through all the comments, and I put them on a piece of paper. Can you see that? Right there, if it focuses. And those are the highlights. And so what I did is I took this piece of paper and, well, actually I went to a doc and I just copy and pasted everything. And I highlighted things that stood out to me, like editing and pushing people to do things and talk radio hosts and all this other stuff. It was really fascinating to see what other people thought that I was an expert in. So that's my advice to you. That's one of the steps. That's one of the ideas. Ask people blank, your name, put your name there, is an expert at. Another idea is if somebody were to ask you to give a talk with no notice, they came up to you and they said, hey, again, I'll use my name. Hey, Kevin, we need you to give a 30-minute talk right now with no preparation, go. If somebody asked you to do that, what could you talk for 30 minutes straight with no prep? And I actually went through this exercise and I thought, well, I'm a special needs parent. I could talk about that. I could talk about my background in television. I could talk about video production. And then over time, it's even added, like I could talk about YouTube. Not a YouTube expert, but I could talk about it. I could talk about different things. So the idea is Think of somebody coming up to you and saying, hey, we need you right now to give a 30-minute talk. Let's go. What could you talk for 30 minutes on without notes or prep? Just think about that. I bet you're going to surprise yourself. Another way to kind of help you find your niche is to look at questions people ask you all the time. Now, based on what you do, it could be maybe around your job, it could be around your hobbies, it could just be around things you like to do or you've made money on or you've done in the past. What I do, my profession, I constantly get questions about gear and ideas and starting a YouTube channel and everything. Now, some of that has turned into coaching and consulting gigs, which is really, really cool. In fact, there's some nonprofits I've worked with. Love working with nonprofits. What are the questions people ask you all the time? Now, it could be through DMs. It could be you're sitting at a coffee shop and somebody's picking your brain or whatever. And make a list of those. Think of those, because what you may see, what I saw, is a pattern of people asking some of the same things. Now, not only could that help you find your niche, that might actually help you write a book if you wanted to. I think I've mentioned this before. I've written a book. I'm working on another book. It might spark an idea for an online course or just a digital download or something like that. It's like, hey, dang, I didn't think about this, but people are asking this all the time. I could actually create content around that. That might become my niche. So think of the questions you get all the time from anybody and go, maybe that's something right there. Now, this next one is, I want you just to think about this. So here's the question. If money were no object, what would I do even if I didn't get paid? So let me give you a little story about this. So I was having coffee with a young dude several years ago, and he was really frustrated with his job. I think he liked doing what he was doing, but there were some other things going on. And I finally asked him, forget your bills, forget your monetary obligations. And he had a family and a young child. Would you continue to do this even if you didn't get paid? Are you that into it? And he looked at me and he said, yeah, I would. And that was that spark bulb moment, that light bulb moment. There was a spark. So my question to you is to sit back and think. And, you might want to write some of this out or type it out or whatever, or just, grab your phone and record yourself talking it out. I do that a lot with my voice memos on my phone, especially if I'm driving. I'll hit that and I'll talk out ideas or just throw something out there because I know later I'm not going to remember it. What would you do? What do you love doing? What do you just, I love doing this and I would do it even if I didn't get paid? That, my friend, might spark the idea for your niche. Then over time, you can figure out ways to monetize it through so many different ways. So I'm asking you right now to think about, what would you do even if you didn't get paid? Another idea, write out all the things that you can do. This isn't about that you're great at or not. Maybe you are. That you can do, that you love doing, that you've been asked to do. Just make a list. I prefer to write that out. So what I've done a couple of times, I love coffee. I love local coffee shops. So what I've done a couple of times is I've gone to a coffee shop and I purposely take like a journal or something like this, a notebook. Sometimes I take my headset. Sometimes I'll turn some just chill music on or whatever, but I stay off my phone. I stay off the computer, whatever, and I'll just start writing. I guess it's journaling to a degree, but I've done this before. And what I'll do is I'll write out things that I feel that, things that God has given me the ability to do, things that I've learned over time, things I like about it. I don't worry about the grammar. I don't worry about whether it's a complete sentence or not. I just write. And it could be paragraphs. It could be bullet points. It really doesn't matter. And then what I do is if I get to a point and I've just stopped, and I start thinking too hard, I stop. Because then I don't want it to become like an exercise. Now, I'm going to show you something. Look at this. These are notebooks that I have, I'd like to say filled up, but I haven't filled up, over time. And this is one I started in 2017. And by the way, I used to be a creative director at a Fox station. So a lot of my things from Fox were from shows. Most of them never made it. I've even got a Terra Nova notebook. Tell me if you remember that. But I can go back in here, and I started out with content ideas. Look at that, content ideas. So I was already thinking that. But I go in here, and here's an entry from 2017. What I do, what others say. I was thinking about resume and stuff like that. This goes all the way back to 2017. And there's another one in here. Here's another one. And I'm not going to go through all these, but if a lot of these, if I open, you would find things in here where I'm writing down what I think I can do, my plans. Here's one right here. If a stranger asks me, what can they expect, what my channel is about, and it goes on and on and on. I probably should have prepared this a little better, but you get the idea, right? These are things I just sat and wrote. My purpose, right there, my purpose. You probably can't see it because it's probably faded out, but you know, my purpose is, and I don't even remember what date I wrote this. I wrote, help people use their gifts to impact the world. And that came out of one of these times where I just took time to sit and write. And if you journal, that's fine. Sometimes I kind of get into this. And the only reason I recommend this, and I'm digital. Guys, I love typing. I have an iPad. I don't like typing on the iPad, but I like digital. The reason I like this is because I feel like that and a pen, getting away from the office, just going somewhere else, disconnecting, helps me connect a little bit more, if you will. Now, something I hope you remember is that you can change your niche at any time. Just because you start off doing this one thing doesn't mean you always have to do that one thing. Experimentation, I find, is a huge way to create. Just makes me feel better within that, even different styles of video and things like that. So now the next question may be, okay, great, I've got kind of what I want to talk about, but where do I find these ideas? Well, I'm glad you asked that, because in the next lesson, I'm going to share a lot of different ways to find ideas for your first or maybe your next YouTube video. One idea are Facebook groups. Now, I don't know how many groups you're in. I'm not in as many as I used to be, but there's a few that are more about video and YouTube, and there have been people asking questions in there that I go, ooh, that's a really good question. And in fact, it's a question I think I can answer because I know something about. And remember, the point of this isn't to know everything about everything. It's just to know maybe a little bit more than the person asking the question so you can help them. 2 of my videos that have done very well over time have actually come from Facebook groups. So here's one of them. Somebody asked a question about how to add clickable links to their YouTube videos. This came from a Facebook group. And I want you to see 2 things. One, yes, it's had a lot of views and watch time, but look at the line and how it took a while to take off. That's a whole different video. But here's another video that came out of a question in there. And let me interject this too. I remember when I saw this question, somebody said, how do you change a thumbnail after you upload? And my first thought was, everybody knows that. But then I thought, okay, first of all, no, they don't. Somebody asked the question, and even if they don't, that's okay. I looked around, people were asking, so I did this video, and look at this. I mean, as of when I did the screen grab, over 63,000 views, and it's only about a minute and a half video, minute 16 seconds. So the takeaway is here, people ask questions in Facebook groups that can become great video ideas. And here's a bonus tip. Depending on the group you're in and the moderator or the admin, what they say their rules are, if somebody asks a question and you have a video to answer that, you can share that in there. So if somebody goes, hey, you know, how do you do clickable links in a video? And I've got a video on that, I can say, hey, I did a video on that. Hope it helps you. I'm not spamming the group. It helps them. And then what that does, it exposes more people, in that case, to my video, but you could do the same thing. Another one is Google. Now, maybe you already know how to search on Google, and that's cool. But if you don't, let me kind of show you in real time how you can get a lot of ideas. So we're going to pop on Google right now. And if you notice, I've already kind of started this, how to grill. And the first thing that happens is it's already giving me these options. Now, maybe I'm not looking for any of these, but let's just say how to grill shrimp. And right there, there's a lot of ideas. Now, Google does have Gemini built in. Sometimes it comes up, sometimes it doesn't. This video is not about using AI. Here are some ideas, but right here, to me, this is like the coolest thing ever. People also ask. These are actual questions real people are asking. Each one of these could be a video idea. So let's say, how long do you grill shrimp for? But check this out. See this little down arrow thing? When you click it, it gives you even more. So each one of these, if you do a grilling channel, just use this for example, each one of these could be another video idea. Then check this out. Go all the way down, and typically down here, people also search for, and then this is kind of like a more section. So just imagine how this one topic we searched came up with all of these ideas, and that is just another way of how you can use Google for free to come up with more ideas. Another idea is YouTube itself. Specifically, look at other channels and creators that maybe you follow or those that you subscribe to, or maybe neither one, but they're kind of in your niche. Look at the topics that they're covering. So let's say that you're baking, that you're a cake baking channel. Can you tell I'm hungry? You look at other channels, other creators that are doing baking things. It doesn't have to be cake. And you may go, oh, wow, that's a great idea, or I could do a different twist on that, or it sparks even more ideas. But you can also take that one step further and look at comments on some of their videos. Even if people aren't asking questions, but they comment, or I didn't know this, thanks for sharing that. I've been looking for this answer forever. That could prompt an idea for your next YouTube video. All right, so I'm going to go back to YouTube again for this next idea, but I'm going to make it personal and make it about my channel, but you could also make it about your channel. Specifically, what are questions and comments you're getting on your own channel? Now you may say, well, Kevin, I thought we talked about that on other channels. Right, but recently when I kind of refocused my effort on my channel, kind of got more clear about who I wanted to talk to, people over 40 that wanted to do video and share their gifts, hopefully like you and me, what happened is the comments and the questions I started getting, it lit a fire under what I can do. And so what I did is I took the time and I went through all of those questions, and I still go through them, and I came up with this. Now, I use Apple Notes for this. I use Apple Notes for everything from just writing, scripting out. I obviously don't script, but anything. I journal in there. But check this out. Where is it? Right there. These are all notes that have come from questions that have come on the videos, especially since I've been refocusing to help people over 40. You may see one of your questions in there, but they're not. Even if you didn't ask a specific question, it was like even look at number, 19, creating faceless channels, should you? Several people have said that. But there's other things in here that I've been writing down because people have been asking or saying something or commenting. I'm like, ooh, that would be a great idea. Maybe you're not going to pivot or change your channel, but don't underestimate your own audience and people in your community that are saying things. And the last idea is you and your experience. Now, let me explain. I've already seen people in the comments, and I hear this all the time. Well, I don't know anything. I don't know enough, and I don't know what I can share. I can guarantee you, whatever your niche is, whatever you feel like your topic or your zone of greatness, I've heard people say, is, there are things that you know from your life and from your experience that you have the advantage over anybody else. So think of what people ask you about all the time, or what you're really good at, or if that family friend calls you up to get you to help with blank, you know about it. Those could be ideas for your next video. Now, however you find ideas for your videos, and it really is infinite ways of finding ideas, I'm going to encourage you to keep an idea list. I use mine in notes. Anything I think of, I throw it in there. I'll talk it out sometimes, and I go back and revisit that from time to time. It's a huge time saver, especially if it's like, oh man, what was that idea for something? Let's shift gears to something that I know really freaks a lot of people out. I don't know if this is you or not, but it's being on camera. Specifically, how in the world can I be comfortable on camera? I came from radio before I got into television. I never had a desire to be on camera. So it was one of those things that I just started doing. It doesn't really intimidate me that much, but I know it does bother a lot of folks. So if it does you, in this next lesson, here are a bunch of ways to help you be more comfortable on camera. One idea would be avoid scripting. Now, you may say, well, wait a minute, whoa, Kevin, because that would be my name. So if you're saying don't script, how does that make me more comfortable? The more it's scripted out, the more you're thinking about remembering it. You know, I was in a college play. Funny story. Actually, went with a friend of mine to audition. I didn't want to be in it. I ended up getting talked into auditioning. I got a role. He didn't. Go figure. And you know, it was trying to learn the script and all this other stuff, and I figured out I couldn't ad lib, which I'd rather do. I think if you're not used to actually, you know, talking as if you're talking, not just remembering the lines, then you get caught up in that. Now, maybe that helps you. I work off bullet points. Like my notes right now are on my iPhone. That's just right below the screen, and they're bullet points. Each one of these that we're going to talk about has a bullet point. But I think if you script it and you want to read off the script, I think it can just come across as you're stiff. Now, you can appear that way as well, but I think the more comfortable you are on camera, the more comfortable the person is that is watching the video. Now, you may say, what about a prompter? I had the Elgato prompter for a while. I ended up selling it, and I'll be honest, it was a good investment, and who knows, I might pick up one again one day. But even using a prompter, if you're not used to reading off a prompter, it comes across as reading, and then it doesn't come across as real. So I think just avoid scripting. Another one is talk to one person. I'm envisioning a person I'm talking to. Now, I realize that I have a lot of subscribers, and if you're one of them, thank you. I realize that I have people that view and watch and I appreciate that. But I always like to think of it as having a conversation with one person. So, for example, I don't normally do this, but I am drinking a cup of coffee while I'm talking to you. And to me, the analogy I use is it's like us meeting at a coffee shop and we're just chatting. So if you can kind of get into that mindset of I'm only talking to one person, then I think it will help you get more comfortable with that. Sorry. When you're talking to somebody, you want to connect with them, which leads into our next point about making eye contact with the lens of the camera. I'm going to show you what I'm looking at to actually prove this point. My camera is above my monitor, but hang on. You will see there, in fact, there's my notes. Remember, we were just talking about the notes. There's my monitor. So if I back up just a little bit more, I'll take the mic with me. That's what I see, but then look right above, and there's my camera. So my camera sits right above my monitor. But when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at the lens. When you're looking at the lens of a camera, it's like you're looking into the eyes of somebody else. You're looking at them. So if that kind of creeps you out about the eyes thing, just think about looking at somebody. Same thing goes with an iPhone. Now, quite honestly, I think there's way too much made about it, it's my opinion, about making sure you shoot with the lens back here and you don't want to use the front-facing camera. And I just don't think it matters. I usually shoot where I can see myself on the phone, so I know if I'm cutting my head off or something like that. Looking at the lens gives the viewer the impression that you're looking at you. So you're watching this right now. Let me know down in the comments. If I just do this the whole time and I'm looking at me on the monitor, remember the shot, does it look like we're connecting? I'm looking at me. I might be looking at you if we're doing like a Google call or a coaching call. But now I'm looking at the lens, which for me is right above my monitor. So by doing that, it's like we're connecting, looking at this way. Different cameras can do different things. Some have the retractable lenses. Again, with like my Pocket 3, the way it works is I can swing it around and actually it'll be looking at me as well. And ironically, I need to turn that off. The lens on the Pocket 3, the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, sits right above the little flip out monitor. I've got a GoPro Hero 9 that has a monitor, or you can actually see yourself right beside the lens, and some of the new ones now are coming out have a flip up. And here's how this may help you, is because if you're uncomfortable on camera, but the more you're looking at yourself, if you look at the lens, it kind of detracts everything, and then you're just looking into this black hole. But you may see yourself as a reflection, which may help you connect a little bit more. So another one is pick a comfortable location. I think your location can have a lot to do with that. So for example, if you are uncomfortable around people, I mean just uncomfortable, and let's say you want to vlog, and you really want to vlog around downtown or a park or something like that, and there's a lot of people there, and you're struggling with that because you just can't get past the fact that you're talking to a camera and people are staring at you like, what the heck is he or she doing? I don't know. That may not make it that easy. I think you can get there, and I think there's a point where it's like, just say, dude, I'm a YouTuber, and they'll go, ooh, and then it won't matter. It may be a location that is isolated. It may be one that in your home, it's a corner room, or it's somewhere where it's just your spot where you can record. I've done videos on this space before. This is a former bedroom. It's 11 by 13. That's now my where I shoot. I call it my studio. It's where I edit. It's where I do my coaching calls. It's where I hang out. It's not a man cave. It's just more like let's call it a video creation cave. It's comfortable to me. It's why I even have all the stuff up on the walls. If you don't like it, well, okay, that's cool. It's my wall. I like the stuff back there. But by picking a comfortable location, look, maybe it's an oversized chair you've got in your house. And let's do a sub point to this. Even in the way you dress, if you would rather wear sweats and kind of look, loungish when you're doing it, do it. If that's what relaxes you enough, it's definitely worth it. Now, here's one I had to work on. Ready? Embrace imperfection. It's okay to be you. It's okay just to make mistakes. Now, I am a perfectionist. I'm trying to get better, and it's a struggle because my idea is to cut out the mistakes. Still to this day, I did a video recently. For whatever reason, the camera, the same one I showed you that's over my desk, all of a sudden just decided to go slightly out of focus. The background was really nice focus, but I was slightly out of focus. I don't know how long the video was, 10 minutes. Out of maybe 12 seconds, it was out of focus. I had to fight myself not to edit that and not to reshoot it just for that. So I was listening to a podcast the other day. I was listening to it. So most mornings, I do the treadmill, about 30 minutes on our treadmill, and I'm listening to a podcast. Probably not smart to try and watch a video while I'm on the podcast. I haven't tried that, but I'm just thinking. So I'm listening to this podcast, and what was the podcast was Relatable with Allie Beth Stuckey. I think that's her name. And in there, she goes, Now, I'm trying to kind of stall and talk while I look up the Bible verse because I can't remember what the Bible verse is, and I'm on Bible Gateway, and here we go. And she just goes. Now, look, you tell me, would you have edited that out? Because, oh no, I didn't know. I've got to look up the verse. She just rolled with it. It actually made me chuckle because I'm like, oh, good. I'd probably do the same thing. It didn't detract from the message. It didn't detract from anything. So, I think it's better to embrace imperfection than trying to come across as perfect all the time. And another one, practice, practice, practice. If you are not comfortable on camera, or you've never been on camera and you don't think you're going to be comfortable, and doing it one time and thinking, oh, I just didn't care for that, and never do it again because, well, that was just too hard. I'm not comfortable. Well, then you didn't give yourself a shot. Years ago, I decided I wanted to play golf because I had some buddies that played golf. Not putt-putt, but golf. I went out and bought clubs. I got a subscription to Golf Digest. Remember that? And I was going to teach myself how to play golf. And I played golf maybe on and off for a year, maybe, and probably not that many times. It's not like I was at the golf course every week. It was a handful of times. And I got progressively worse and worse and worse. And to this day, golf is the only sport that I quit halfway through. I don't know what round I was on, but when what do you call it? You teed off. The ball didn't go very far, and I remember throwing my club, not a proud moment, further than the ball went. And I said, I'm done. And I just picked up everything. I didn't finish the course, and I sold I sold the golf clubs. Because you know why? I wasn't that vested in it. I didn't care. I didn't practice. As opposed to getting a stick shift as my first car, I didn't know how to drive it, but I knew I wanted to drive my car. So I kept practicing and practicing, practicing to the point that I don't even have to think about stick shifts. I was telling somebody the other day, it's like, I drive one now. It's like, did I go to second gear? Well, I guess I did because the car's running fine. Just like anything, the more you practice it, the better you will be, the better you will get more comfortable at it. Let's do this. If you've never, ever done a video, hit record and do a video. Don't worry about how good it is. Don't worry about anything. Just do the video and then go one step further and upload it to YouTube because, just having it on your camera roll, showing people, okay, fine, whatever. All right, now the fun part, making videos. So in this next lesson, I'm going to share a lot of simple ways to help you make your first YouTube video. And by the way, the emphasis is on the word simple. Whatever type of video you create, it needs to start with the idea. What is the idea that you have? Now, maybe you don't know exactly what you want to create. Whether you use a physical journal, like something that you can actually write in, or you use something digital, like I use Apple Notes. My notes for this course, they're in Google Docs. That's what I use, but you could use Notion. You could use anything. Take some time and just come up with a bunch of ideas. If you're just starting, let's say you have a hobbies, or let's say you have interest in grilling and you're into knitting and you're into rock climbing. Pick one of those and go with it. This isn't about perfecting your channel and the production from day one at all. You can always tweak and change as you grow. This is about getting the things out of your head, or your noggin, as I like to say, onto paper, whether it's physical or digital, so then we can take that and run with it. So what I would do is, you can do this a couple of different ways. Just get something out, whether it's like, again, a digital notepad or physical, and just start writing down every idea you can think of. Don't worry about completed sentences. Don't make it paragraphs. We're not doing outlines yet. You just want to write down ideas. So let's say it's going to be gardening, something I know nothing about. So you might want to write down how to start a garden, how to grow tomatoes, what is fertilizer for, what times of year should you plant, just on and on and on and on and on. You want to keep writing ideas down until you get to a point where you're having to think too hard. When you do that, stop. Put the pen down, move the cursor over, but stop. You may have 100 ideas, you may have 3 ideas, you may have 25 ideas. I used to do this when I would write. I would just start writing, and if I got to a point where I started thinking too hard about it, sometimes I would just stop. But do this in one sitting. You're not worried about grammar. You're not worried about whether the ideas make any sense. You just want to get them down. Then take a break. I mean, it could be a break to grab coffee. It could be a lunch break. Make it a short break. Then come back through and go through your list and pick one, just one. Well, Kevin, I like 2 or 3 of them. Just pick one. Well, what if it's not the best one? It may not be. Well, what if it's just not my favorite? It may not be. But pick one that you think, this is the one I'm going to put my tent pole in, and I'm going to start with this one. Once you get that idea, what I want you to do is just create a rough outline. Now, you may be a person that likes to write everything out, and you may be the type person that wants to read a script. I'm going to recommend you don't do that. The writing out part, if you want to do, is fine. I would not worry about having a script and memorizing it, because I think that's going to be a layer of difficulty that you have to think about that will keep you from doing. And this is all about getting you to do, getting it done. So write out some notes. The way I would structure it is kind of 3 parts. I would have an intro, which is also called a hook. I would have the body, which is kind of like the value of the video. Even if it's just entertainment, there's some value. And then I would have the end, which can sometimes have a call to action, which the call to action could be just like, thanks for watching. And then that's the structure you'll follow for the video. It's, again, not about being perfect. It's about getting it done. Now let's talk about the gear. I think, honestly, this is a bigger stumbling block than the idea. I see it all the time. What gear do I need? What's the best camera? What's the best mic? And it's easy when you go to YouTube, you see all the new gear coming up because these manufacturers have got it down pat. They know when they've got something new, they send it out there and people are going to review it. So this is about using what you have. I will never, ever, ever suggest you go and buy something to create. Now, there are times where some gear can make it easier and actually better, not from a quality type of standpoint, like it's going to look like a Netflix documentary, but like making sure people can hear you. It really comes down to look and sound, the visual and the audio. How you get there doesn't really matter. So let's talk about the video. I'm a Mac guy, but if you've got a laptop, you've got a built-in camera in it. If that's all you have, use it. Sometimes it's called the webcam, sometimes it's called the FaceTime. I will say this, it is not the best quality, but it is a camera. Better would be your phone. Now, I'm an iPhone guy, but whether you're a Samsung or an Android phone or whatever the other brands might be, just use that. Now, if you have a camera like I have a couple of Canon cameras, I have a GoPro, I have an iPhone, I have a webcam, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Those are all great, but you don't need anything fancy or expensive to create. So if you, quote, just have an iPhone, use it. What I would recommend is turn it on its side where it's more holding like this, and you want to record it this way. I would record it where you can actually see the screen rather than try and fool with one of the lenses on the background. That's up to you. I'm just about making it simple. Let's talk about audio. If you have wired or wireless earbuds, you got to be a little careful about this, but just use those. If you're recording at your desk, I have a mic that's connected to my computer, but you can also get wireless mics. DJI has wireless mics that are great. Hollyland has wireless mics. Rode has wireless mics. What's great about these is they're literally plug and play mics, and they all work with your phone. So again, on an iPhone, you have a native camera app. It's the camera app that comes with it. There are other apps out there that are good. I would use the camera app that comes with your phone. It'll be fine. It'll just be fine. If you don't have any of those mics I mentioned, and you don't have a budget, then get as close to your camera as possible. There are mics on the iPhones that sound good. It's about being able to hear you. I will say this, audio is more important than video because if someone can't hear you, they're probably not going to pay attention. Then let's talk about lighting. Now, again, I have a lot of different lights. What I would use is natural lighting. And usually by that, I mean a window. Like to my right, I have a window in my office, and sometimes I sit at the desk in front of the window and I just let God light me for free. Now, I do have a shade I pull down that diffuses the light a little, and when I mean diffuse, it just doesn't make it as bright. But you could do that. You could let a window light you. What you don't want to do is put the window behind you. Just have the window either in front of you or beside you slightly. Now, I will say this, if you wear glasses like I do, you may see the light in your glasses. Don't worry about that right now. This isn't about perfection. It's about getting it done. If you want to take it a step further and you have any lamps in your home, then you can just add a nice warm or cool light bulb to that. Again, just something so you're not sitting in total darkness. Now, in my studio office, I have accent lights in the background. I've really dialed this in. I have a light on my computer or on my desk that I just turn on and off. And then also tripod. I record a lot of things at my desk. My camera is mounted to my desk, so it's always going to be there and ready. You could buy an inexpensive tripod. Now, be careful because if you do already have camera gear and it's expensive gear, I'm always hesitant about putting a nice camera on a really cheap tripod because if the tripod breaks, if you're using your phone, which I would highly recommend, and you don't have a tripod, use a stack of books. Use something where you can sit your phone there and step back and hit record. If you're doing a vlog, then literally you could hold it like this. Let's say you don't have a tripod or a holder or something like that. I do think it'd be a little better. You don't need a gimbal. And if you don't know what a gimbal is, then good for you. But just hold it like this and start talking to it and record it. Okay, now we're ready for the fun part. At least I think it's fun. It's actually recording your video. There's so many different ways you can record it. You could record it at your desk. You could record it on the go. You could record it sitting in your car or truck. So decide where you want to record it, because that will help you decide how you want to record it. So let's say, for example, you want to sit in your car or truck and record it. Just a safety note, I feel like I need to say, but I shouldn't. Make sure you're not driving. Pull over somewhere, turn the engine off, which will also help with the quiet. And then you can hold it, you can get a mount that goes into it, or you can just set it up on the dashboard, assuming you're using your phone or GoPro or something like that. If you're recording at your desk, you can have your camera actually connected to your computer. There's different ways to do that. Or if you're on the go or something like that, you might want to use something like a GoPro, or I mentioned the DJI Osmo Pocket 3, which you can record and walk. You want to decide how you're going to record it. Don't overthink this. Make it simple. Now, I'm going to give you some options as well. I'm on a Mac. I would say most of the things I record now are directly onto my computer with my Canon camera connected to my computer. And so I use programs like Riverside or Ecamm or StreamYard, but there's also OBS. OBS works on Mac or Windows. Some of these work on either one. It doesn't really matter what you have. There's so many different programs out there that you can use to record. Again, if you're on a Mac, there's QuickTime, which comes with the Mac, which is fine to use. Just find something simple to record. And again, if you don't want to be tied or tethered to your desk, the best thing you can do, especially if you're using your phone, is make sure you have plenty of storage on your phone and then record directly onto your phone, which will save to your camera roll. I think it's really important before you record, though, to make sure you've got plenty of storage. I don't know that I would record in 4K if you don't need to, because 4K takes up more space. That's your call. But whether you save off to Google Photos or Amazon Photos, or you do iCloud or whatever, just make sure you've got plenty of space before you start recording, because you don't want to really be in the groove and all of a sudden you get the boom. Sorry, you're out of storage. If you want to do that and you've got your phone, record straight to your phone, and it's going to be on your camera roll when you are done. What I'm going to recommend is you do one take and you don't edit. What I would like to hear are the people out there that don't know how to edit, they're scared of editing, even though you shouldn't be, that just said, amen. And maybe this is you've never edited, you're scared of editing, you think you've got to outsource editing, which you don't, and so therefore you don't know how to edit. That's fine. Do one take, hit record, and go. Now, on the iPhone with the newer iOS, you can actually pause the recording now, where before you couldn't do that. I don't know about older models, and I don't know about Galaxy or Android phones and Samsung and things like that. A lot of the recording software I use on my computer, there's an option to pause it. But what I would recommend is, if you go back to your outline, you should have an idea of how you're going to start, what you kind of want to talk about, and how you're going to end it. And you know what? If you forget somewhere along the way what you were going to say, look at your notes. It's okay. Don't apologize for it. Just look at your notes. I've been glancing at my notes several times during the recording of this course. But what I want you to do, again, this is about getting it done, is you hit record and you start talking and you go through it. If you need to pause, that's okay. But what I would do is do one take, no editing. And then when you're done, you want to stop it. Now, could you set a time limit? You could, if that helps you. But I don't want you to get so caught up in the time right now. And I want you to stay focused on just getting it done. I think it is far more important you present value, whether you're helping teach something, you're helping encourage somebody, you're entertaining somebody. Let that be the driving force over how long it is. If it helps you stay on track, set a timer for 5 minutes and go. There's nothing magical about 5 minutes, so don't get hung up on that. And then what I would recommend is looking straight at the lens. Now, if you're using your iPhone and you're using the front
camera, like I can see it, it's always going to be here at the top if you're holding it this way. So keep that in mind. If you look at the screen and see yourself, you're not going to be looking at the lens. What I would do is just record a 1-minute test. That's it. Just 1 minute. Again, nothing special about that. And watch it back just to make sure you're looking at the lens and your mic is working if you're using a mic and you can be heard. Because if you're not using a mic and you're in a very, very noisy place, it's going to be hard to hear you. So just do a quick test, nothing fancy, just something to test it, watch it back. I'm good to go. Now I want you to take your phone or whatever you're using, hit record and go. And just try and be as natural as possible. And you know what? If you're very uncomfortable, it's okay. Work that in. I've been asked many times before, what should my first video be about? And I say, make that your first video. That, hey, I'm new at this. This is my first video. I don't really know what I'm going to be talking about, even though we've kind of worked through some of that. But the goal is just to get it out there, because I do believe creating video content is just like driving a stick shift. The more you do it, the more you get comfortable at it. So the more reps you keep putting in, the more you start being able to do it more naturally and easy. Remember, I'm talking to a lens on a camera. I see a big round hole with a little glass on it, but my goal is to connect with you. And that's what you're doing. If you have to look off, look off. If you have to look at your notes, look at your notes. If you forget what you're going to say, it's okay. Now, make sure you don't end the recording too soon. And if you're fumbling to find how to start it and stop it, you can always trim it a little. Like you can even trim a video in QuickTime. But again, I wouldn't worry about that. This is about recording it and getting it done.
Okay, so since we're talking about making videos, in this next lesson, I want to share some shortcuts, things that I even use to help you actually create more and stress less.
Tip number 1, keep a video idea list. I think this is so important as you're creating, because if you sit down to create, unless you just, look, and if you're one of these guys that can just like, I'm going to vlog on the go and I'm not going to worry about it, that's okay. But depending on what you teach or what you share or what you want to do, you may need something to jump start you. I use Apple Notes for almost everything I do, from scripting my notes here on Apple Notes. So I keep a video idea list. I think of something, I jot it down. Somebody mentions something in the comments. Sometimes I'll do a screen grab and drop that in there. Sometimes I'm using the built-in voice memos feature, which, by the way, I did a whole video on that. It's really cool. It just allows you to kind of talk out an idea, but I'm constantly grabbing ideas. And so therefore, when I'm ready to shoot, I can go and just look at the ideas. Now, you can take it a step further. I know this works in Apple Notes, but you can pin ideas. So sometimes I'll pin some ideas, and these are the ones I'm going to do next. And then I'll jump in and I'll bullet point them out. I usually don't do scripts, I do bullet points. And then that's what I'll go off of. But maybe you just come up with a list of, here's what I'm going to produce this week or this month or today or something like that. But I'm telling you, this is a great shortcut to keep an idea list and maybe put it in an order of, this is going to be my first video, my next video, and then go from there. Second thing is reusable intros and outros. I don't know that you necessarily need an intro for your video. I see this question a lot. That really depends on you. I know there are some out there that say don't use intros. There's some that do. I do believe if you're going to do an intro, don't make it crazy long, but that's a different video. But let's say that you do a video podcast or a show or something like that, or you have a brand that you want to always make sure that people use, that people know. Well, create an intro and just reuse it all the time. So I want to show you 2 examples. Now, I don't know that I ever use these, but I was kind of going through this period with my video podcast where I was going to do these interviews, and I came up with this title called That Creative Journey. I still kind of like that. And so I created the first animation you're going to see totally in Final Cut. And then after a while, I thought, I've got the podcast called, Kevin's Talking About. So then I created the second one in Canva. Very simple, but let me show you those. Now, again, they were short, sweet, but had I decided to keep using those intros, let's just say that creative journey, then every time I got to a point where I was producing the show, I would just reuse that and play that intro and not have to redo it every time. The same thing can go for an outro. So let's say there's a way you want to end your videos where you have an animation, where whether it's you're creating an end screen or you always want to have an animation that goes to your website or something like that. By creating these once, then you can just reuse them over and over and over again, and it will save you a ton of time. Now, you may have to create them up front, and that may take a little time, but I'm telling you, when you get into the production standpoint, even if you're just doing it yourself, which I recommend, whoo, it's going to save you a lot of time. Number 3, keyboard shortcuts. So you can do this for editing programs, and you can also do this for just like the keyboard. For example, I edit in Final Cut Pro, and there are a lot of shortcuts that I have to help me edit faster, trim faster, even things that help me do audio faster. And you can even go in and create your own shortcuts in there as well. So that helps in terms of editing, like even setting an in and an out point. But even just in the keyboard in general. Now, I'm on a Mac, but I use a Logitech keyboard, and so I have shortcuts in there. A lot of times I'm using, what is it, Command Z or Control Z, which is undo. I use that quite a bit. I also use J, K, and L when I'm watching a video back. So like when this video is done, before I upload it to YouTube, I'll preview it. I'll watch it back, and I usually do it at a faster speed. So if I hit the L key, the L key on the keyboard, it'll speed the video up. J rewinds it, and K pauses it. My space bar will also play and pause. So sometimes I'm doing that. I'm making a note. Maybe it's for the description of the video as well. So those are some things you can do. And again, being on a Mac, you can even create shortcuts for other programs as well. So like I'm recording this right now in Ecamm Live. And so I have shortcuts that triggers the animations. So for example, to trigger the next animation, point 4, I'm going to hit 4 on my keyboard, which brings up the point 4, which is go to music and sound effects. So if you use music and or sound effects in your videos, what I would recommend is have a folder of cuts that you want to use over and over again. Now, you need to double check whatever music subscription you use. Like I use Upbeat. Every subscription has different use policies, whether it's for YouTube or commercial or personal or whatever. Most of them, by the way, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just telling you that I've used a lot of them. Most of them, if you let the subscription expire, you can't keep using the music. You can't just like, download it or things like that. But as long as you have a subscription, now I know with Upbeat, you can even create playlists. So you could create a playlist in Upbeat of, let's just say you have 5 or 6 cuts of music you're going to use for everything, and then you can go pull from that. Sound effects are the same way. I have a folder called sound effects. Actually, I think I call it SFX, which is just the shortcut for that. On these graphics, you hear a typing sound effect. I have a typing sound effect in there. So when I'm editing this, I just pull that sound effect in and I'll drop it on there. And that way I don't have to look for it all the time. Shortcuts will save you a ton of time, especially if you have music and or sound effects that you want to reuse over and over and over again. Number 5, B-roll library. If you don't know what B-roll is, right now you're looking at what's called A-roll, and this goes all the way back to the early days of editing. So B-roll is what you would cover it up with. So right now you're looking at a shot from another camera of me recording this. Kind of meta-like, huh? But that's called B-roll. So B-roll is like extra footage, but it can also be a graphic, a photo, a text. I tend to think anything that is secondary to what you're saying, but adds to it. You can do stock footage. So I used to do this. I used to subscribe to stock footage libraries, and there's a lot of good ones out there. And then I got realizing that if I'm talking about editing, I would rather just show me editing or me setting up my camera or something like that, rather than just go to a stock footage, which is going to be like the same shot you're probably going to see on so many people that subscribe to the same thing. So what I do, I keep a folder called B-roll. And then I've gone in, and I think this is an important point. I label them. Now, I can't say I've done this perfectly, but I tend to go in, and if I have B-roll of my cameras or B-roll of the iPhone or something like that, let's say iPhone. So if I'm doing a video on an iPhone and I want just a shot of me on an iPhone, well, I've got several shots of that, or my Osmo Pocket 3 or my journal notes or something like that. So anytime that I know of, oh, I might need a shot of that, I've already got those, and that saves me a ton of time. Now, did I have to shoot those in advance? Absolutely, but sometimes I'm even pulling them from other projects. So it will save you a ton of time. 6, project templates. There's so many different ways of doing this. I don't use Notion, but I know of people that keep project templates in Notion. I do kind of keep different folders in my Apple Notes, but one place I do it is I use Canva for my graphics. Canva, I'm on the paid plan. It's the Pro plan, I believe. And you can have I think they call it brand kit. I just call it, Kevin Colby brand kit. And so in there, I've pre-established the fonts I want to use. Like my main font is Arial. So whenever I'm adding text in Canva, it's automatically going to call that up. I have a bunch of colors in there, and then I have my logos as well. So what I can do is then, if I'm creating something, I've already got my text figured out. I do the same thing in Final Cut Pro. Whenever I'm adding text to screen, I already have that as my default. You can even take it a step further in editing. Again, I'm on Final Cut Pro, but I can have moves and different colors and whatever I want to do, I can save as a preset and automatically put that in there. But if there's something that you do over and over, colors, logo, things like that you can save time on. You can even do this in scripting. So like, for example, let's say that you want a template. Again, this is under project template, but you have a template. So you want to fill in how you're going to start your video, what your points are going to be, and how you're going to end it. That can be your template. Then all you're doing is you're just filling that in, which again helps you create faster. Number 7, thumbnail templates. Being completely honest here, I don't do a good job of this. Let me kind of explain this. So prior to me kind of shifting and refocusing to talking to people over 40, just kind of helping with video, my thumbnails were kind of a little hodgepodge of different things. And so right now, kind of my template is what I call hyper real. So I usually will grab a shot with my iPhone, or as I'm rolling video, I may kind of pause for the camera, and then I'll use those for my template for my thumbnails. Now, template-wise, I use the same fonts for the most part. I might change it up just a little. I'll use the same colors. And a lot of my thumbnails, I tend to try and put the font on the same side. Again, sometimes it depends on what I'm using. What you could do is come up with several styles, 3, 4, 5 styles. There's nothing magical about that. Whether maybe you're on the right side, middle, left side, or whatever, and then you just reuse those. And what you can do is change out your expression. You can change out the title. You could even change out the colors. And then therefore, that will help you with that. Number 8, have a camera and mic ready set up. So like, I do everything in my home studio office. It's a former bedroom. It's an 11 by 13 space. I actually did a video on this. If you want to see that, I'll put a link to that down below. But like right now, I'm recording at my desk. So I have this mic that's plugged into my computer. I have my camera that's set up, ready to go. And right now I'm using Ecamm Live, so I can hit record and be going. So I don't have to rethink the setup every time. Even my light is easy enough to turn on and off, or that would be off and on. You get the point, right? This helps me create content faster. But let's say you shoot with your phone. Well, maybe you can have like a tripod mount. Maybe it's mounted to the desk, or it's something that you set on a table. You pop your phone on, you turn your mic on, and you're ready to go. You can take this a step further depending on the programs you use or your mics. One of the things I love about this Shure mic, and I think it's the MV7 Plus, is I'm using the USB component. It's an XLR USB mic. I have it going through the software that comes free with it. It does auto gain and all of that. So I know that my audio will be almost perfect coming out of this, which is one less thing to do with. I'll take it a step further. If you have a camera and let's say you're so new to video, so this is kind of like a bonus point within a point, then use the auto settings on everything. I know that some people will disagree with this, and that's fine, but the cameras have gotten so good that you could leave it on auto white balance, you could leave it on auto focus, which is what I use, and even somewhere in the audio as well, and it will just help you create. So don't hesitate to do that if it'll especially help you create faster just having something set up and go. Number 9, default settings. This is specifically powerful for YouTube. I don't know if you knew this or not, but in your settings, you can actually set your default uploads, which means, like for mine, I already have something in there about my courses, my coaching, I think about my newsletter. I even have the affiliate disclaimer link, including the one I need for my Amazon links. So whenever I upload a video like this video, when I'm uploading it, those will automatically be there. Now, you can change them and you can add to it. So like, for example, I've mentioned other YouTube videos in this video that there'll be links to those down in the description. I'll add those, but instead of having to type everything out, it's only those things. Now, let's say you have different types of upload. So you have something more centric to like when you're on the go or maybe your cooking show or whatever. Well, then just keep those like in, again, I use Apple Notes and you can copy and paste those. What I would recommend is just copy and paste the parts that are different and then you're not redoing it over and over and over again. Number 10, batch record. All this really means, if you've heard this before, is when you're sitting down to record, you try and record as many things as possible. And as many things may be 2 for you. It may be 3 or 4. I don't do a great job of this, and some of that is by choice. I think the furthest I've ever gotten ahead was 5 weeks. I literally once got 5, because I usually do a video a week, sometimes more. But I think I did 5 weeks worth of videos. And what happened to me is I got bored during that month because it's like, oh, I did do some other things, but it was like, oh man. So I usually don't do too many at once. But depending on, if you've got a full-time job or this is part-time for you or just a hobby or you've got a busy family life or whatever it is, the more you can try and batch record, the more it will help. And you can use programs where you're recording to their cloud or, an external drive, and then you just go and edit them when you can. And remember, we talked about reusing things and B-roll. Well, you could even roll in things you've already shot before to help with that. So it's another way of saving time so you're creating more depending on how you're creating.
So I hope you have a video ready, and I hope you're ready to upload it to YouTube, because in this lesson, I'm going to show you all the steps, all the ones I go through every time I upload a video to YouTube. Okay, to upload a video, just go to YouTube, make sure you're signed in to the account, to the channel you want to upload to, and you see Create right here. When you click it, you have these options: upload video, go live, and create a post. To create a post is like Community tab if you have that. So before I click upload a video and show you that, let me take you into your settings, to my settings, and show you some of the things you can set up in advance that will save you a lot of time when you go to upload. So what you want to do is go to settings. It's all the way down here on the left-hand side near the bottom, and you're going to go to upload defaults. Now there's a lot of things here you can do, but this is more about saving time during the upload. Now you can add a title here. I don't add a title here because I don't want a default title, but if you notice, this is a description default. So what you'll see in just a minute when we upload the video, all of this will automatically be there. Now, these links don't look like they link, and they won't until your video is published. I have mine set to unlisted. And then you can also go in here and do advanced settings like allow automatic chapters, the categories, dubbing. This is something that has been introduced that is really cool, that it actually will automatically dub my video into different languages. There's a few now, they're rolling out more. You'll see it. It automatically translates your audio track into different languages and adds them to your video. It's actually kind of cool. And then comments. This is what I recommend. Turn them on. And I really, really recommend setting this to strict. And what I found out is that sometimes they hold them and they shouldn't, but you have the option of approving those, and then show how many viewers like the video. I'm okay with that. And then monetization. If you're in the monetization program, you can click this. You can do all of this after the fact. I just found that it saves a ton of time now. Okay, so now let's actually upload a video, and we're going to go here and we're going to upload video, and it'll pop up this screen. Now you have a couple of options here. It says you can drag and drop your video file right over here, and you can do more than one video at a time. We're just going to do one video at a time right now. Select file. So I'm going to select this file. Here's the video right here, and open is the same thing as adding it in there. Now, typically at this point when I'm uploading, I kind of go through this quick, and then I come back, and after the video has processed, then I go ahead and add all this. But since I want to show you kind of step by step a lot of these settings, I'm going to do it more in real time, if you will. So this video is about how to win at YouTube if you're over 40. When you're watching this, this video will have already been published. So this is not the title I'm going to go with, but I want to show you something. See the description? This is exactly what I just showed you in my default. So if you notice, there's a couple of things already in here that's been loaded. This is not what I'm calling the video. So let me grab the title. These are actually my notes from the video. Hopefully you can see them. And these are the two titles I was looking at. So I'm going to go with this right here, and I'm going to copy, and then I'm going to go back to this. And there's the title I'm going with. Now, I've also got a little bit of some description already written out. So again, let me go back to my notes. And this is the description I've written out. And I'm going to add it right here. So the first thing you'll notice is even though I have all of this here, you can always add to it. I can delete some stuff if there was a special offer here, or maybe other videos, I could do that. But I'm also a believer in less is more. Can't always say that I do that perfectly, but this now is the only thing I'm adding to this. It's already here. It kind of reemphasizes the title. So now we're going to keep going on. If I had products, I could tag products. I don't really talk about anything in this video. Now let's talk about the thumbnail. You have three options. You can upload a thumbnail. You can do auto-generated, or you can do test and compare. So for example, auto-generated, I don't know if it's generated yet, so it's still uploading. It probably doesn't have anything to show, but what it will do is it will pick at random, totally at random, 3 frames from your video. I find that 99.9% of the time, you don't want that. Sometimes I just upload one, but I want to show you the test and compare feature. So what you'll notice is you can upload up to 3 images. You don't have to upload 3 images. If you only have one, don't use this. This is more about testing. And this is all an internal YouTube feature that they've got in here. So I've done 2 thumbnails for this video. Here's one and here's 2. So I'm going to start with that one, and I'll tell you why the order in just a second. I'm uploading that. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to do this one. If at any point when it's testing these as the video is live and it says, you know, there's not a big difference between them, I want it to default to the one that I want to go with. So ultimately, if I stop the test, this is the one I want to go with. So that's just kind of a little tip. If you have a third one I don't hear, then you would add that there. I always put the one in the slot position number 1 that I would rather go with, just kind of a preference. Now let's talk about playlists. Playlist is a great way to kind of extend the reach of your videos. You can put the same video in multiple playlists. So for this one, I'm going to add this to my podcast, Kevin's Talking About. And I'm probably going to do this for YouTube over 40 with Kevin, and also YouTube over 40 tips. And it's just different playlists. And again, you can have a lot. You can have 2 or 3 videos in there. Audience. Again, this is something I have automatically set in the back end, but my videos are never made for kids. Doesn't mean kids can't watch them. They're just not made for kids. That's why I set that. This video is not sponsored, but if it was, I would click this. Now there's a little gray area about, well, what if somebody gave you something and you guaranteed them a video? You might want to click that. But anytime I have a sponsor that I have to disclose, and I'll always disclose at the beginning of the video, and I'll always put a link down in the description saying it, then you want to click this. This video is not sponsored. Altered content. This has to do with AI. Now, this doesn't mean if you used AI to create the thumbnail or maybe a background or something, you have to click this. What this means is, does it make a real person appear to say or do something they didn't do or say? Does it alter footage of a real event or place? Or does it generate a realistic looking scene that didn't actually occur? So really, YouTube is looking for fake stuff here to try and trick people. This one doesn't have any of this, so I click no. So let's talk about automatic chapters. Now, typically I leave this clicked on and I let YouTube decide if they want to put chapters in there. Now, you can leave this on and add your own chapters if you want. Sometimes I've done it in the past. I've stopped doing it now. What I've noticed personally is if I have a video that really tends to grow, Maybe it even gets picked up by Google. YouTube will go in and add the chapters. And I find that they're pretty good. But again, you can decide this. You can leave this clicked on and still add your own chapters. Featured places. I turn this off. I know it says it helps viewers explore key places in the video, and these are public places like restaurants and shops, and we don't display your current location or private info. Personally, I'm not 100% convinced about this. I would rather not everybody in the World Wide Web know where I am, so I click this off. If you have a restaurant channel or a shop or something like that, and location is important, you might want to consider that. I turn it off. Automatic concepts. This is something that you may have seen on a YouTube video where they're using AI to give you a little bit more insight into the video. I just leave it on. I haven't found that it hurts me either way. Tags. Okay, here's the thing. Tags don't really impact your video. Don't believe me? Tags can be useful if the content of your video is commonly misspelled. Otherwise, tags play a minimal role in helping your viewers find your video. But we're going to add just a few, but we're not going to go crazy with this. I mean, literally, that's all I'm going to do. Next is language and caption certification. My video language is English. The content has never appeared on television in the US. I just leave this. Again, these were all set in the default setting. I really don't even mess with this anymore. Recording date, I don't fool with this. Video location, I don't fool with this. Okay, let's talk about license and distribution. This is a big one. I leave it on standard YouTube license because if I go to Creative Commons attribution, it basically means I'm giving anybody in the World Wide Web the rights to reuse this video. And I just don't want to do that. So I leave it on that. Allow embedding. I always leave this on because if I turn this off, this means I can't even embed it on my own website. But again, you decide that. Publish to subscriptions, feed, and notify subscribers. I always leave this on. I hear some people say, well, I don't want my subscribers to know and I don't want to bombard them. You know, maybe if you're doing a channel where there's daily news or you're uploading like a gazillion shorts a day, I don't. And I would like my subscribers to know that they've got a new video if they want to watch it, and they have to have notification turned on to even see it. Automatic dubbing. That was what I was showing you. The reason you don't see it here is because in the back end, I already have it set to do it. I don't speak anything but English, so it'd be silly for me to manually review the dubs before publishing, so I leave that unchecked. Shorts remixing? Heck yeah. If somebody wants to remix one of my videos, absolutely. And here's the thing. It's not like they're downloading it and owning it. It actually will point back to my channel. So I leave that on. Category. Now, category is one of these things that's been around for quite a while. I don't really see it helping one way or the other, but when you open this, you notice you have a lot of categories from auto and vehicles, comedy, education, entertainment, film and animation, gaming, how-to and style, music, news and politics, nonprofits and activism, people and blogs, pets and animals, science and technology, sports and travel and events. Now you can change this per video. I set it at the channel level. I just leave it at education because most of the time I'm just kind of teaching and sharing. And as far as this, I don't fill out any of this. Comments and ratings. Again, if you remember, we actually did this in the default settings, but just again, you can change that here. I have mine set on. I have mine set strict. So there's that. Sort by, I usually do newest. It doesn't really matter. And then also if you want to show how many people like the video, why not? Why not? I like that. And if you are doing a fundraiser, you can actually add a fundraiser to your video. I haven't done that yet, but I really think it's a cool feature. So when all of this is done, click Next. Monetization. If you're in the YouTube Partner Program, which happens when you have at least 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours of watch time in a 12-month period, you'll have this option. I always turn mine on because I'm okay with monetizing my videos. Now, videos longer than 8 minutes have the option of having mid-roll place and natural breakpoints. And I turn this on as well. And it shows you right here where there will be. Now, YouTube gives you the option of reviewing the placement. I rarely do this, but you could do that and you can move it around. I find the placement is, well, actually, I don't even see the placement because I have YouTube Premium, so I never see this. And by the way, as you're going through this process, you'll see that YouTube tells you exactly where you are in the process. So right here, we're on ad suitability. Again, if you're not in the partner program, you won't even have this to fool with. But if you are, this is one of these, I usually just go all the way down here and click none of the above. But just to give you an idea, controversial issues. When you click on any of these boxes, you have more options in here you can click. So after I click none of the above, YouTube is saying, oh, okay, so you're saying that I'm saying that this video is safe for ads and all of these things are going to be possible revenue sources. Submit rating, and it'll go through and do that. Now you have all these video elements, and they may not even apply to you, but you can, if you're doing a music license, a special music license, you can check that. I don't. Add subtitles. YouTube generates subtitles. I find it's really good. I don't add my own subtitles. If you're in the YouTube shopping program, which I am, you can tag products. It should be products that you're talking about or showing in your video. Add an end screen. You can actually add an end screen here, but we're going to do it here at the end of the video, and I'm going to show you. I like doing it once the video is up, and I can do it inside the studio. And add cards. Those are the things people point at. I haven't added a card, and I don't know when, but you could if you wanted to. Now, right now, it's going to run some checks, and it'll tell you right here, checks will not run until the SD version has finished processing, but they're going to go through everything to make sure everything you're saying is legit. Visibility. Now it says right here, we're still checking your video, but we can change any of this at any point. If you remember in the default settings, I have mine set to unlisted, and I did an entirely different video on all of these types of settings, what the difference is between private, unlisted, members only, obviously it's members only, public, schedule. I'm not going to go into that yet. I'll show you that here in just a second. And then we're going to go ahead and hit save. And it says right here, we're still checking. So publish. Now, this can be confusing. Publish doesn't mean it's going live. It just means you're going to get it to a point where it's going to go to this screen and it's still uploading. It says right here, 74 minutes. We have 7 minutes left. So I'm going to let it finish, and then I'm going to take you back in there and show you some more things. Okay, so the video has processed. Here it is right here, but we're not done yet. So we're going to click on the little pencil here, details, and here it is. Now, if you notice, here's the title we put in. Here's the description we added right there. There was already the things in there. There's the thumbnail. The reason you're seeing two is because we're doing test and compare. We added it to the playlist. And here's all the other stuff we added, including the tags and all of that. Here's some other things you need to think about. Subtitles. Remember, subtitles, YouTube is generating their own subtitles. I just don't fool with this at all. It's unlisted for now because we haven't scheduled it. The cards, I don't do cards, but cards are the things that appear in the upper screen. So now let's talk about end screens. This is a really cool tool that I'd encourage you to take advantage of. So when you get to the screen, you're going to have a lot of options, and you can add an end screen up to 20 seconds or at least 5 seconds, which is what we're going to do in this video, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's go through this. So the first thing you see is it says import from latest video. What this is just importing the end screen I've already added. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to walk you through this, but let me show you the options. Now, you may not have all of these. Some of these are based on the partner program and your channel, but you can add a video. I'll show you that in just a second. A playlist, a subscribe button, channel. You could actually link to another channel. Maybe you have a second channel. Maybe you've interviewed somebody. You want to link to their channel, or a link. A link could be a website. It could be an offer. It could be to your book if you've written a book like I have. So let's go the video option first, and let me show you what happens. So let me tell you what each one of these are. Now, if you notice, it put the box right here, and it's put it in for the length of time, the full 20 seconds, and it's your most recent upload. So whatever the upload was before this one, that's what it will put there. Best for viewer. It allows YouTube to select a video from your channel. So basically, if you do this, and I've done this sometimes, YouTube is going to say, oh, based on this viewer's viewing habit and other things they watch, we think this video will be best for them, or you can choose a specific video. So what it does is it opens this box, and I can choose any one of these individual videos if I want to, or I could even put a video from another channel. All right, so basically, I'm going to delete this. I'm just going to delete, and I want to add a playlist. And the reason I want to add a playlist is because when you click on it, you're going to get more videos to potentially watch. So since this video is all about doing YouTube if you're over 40, I'm going to put the YouTube over 40 tips. And there it is right there. I don't have to add anything else. I typically move mine down. Notice this is movable. I don't want it over my head. and I'm going to put it right here. But I'm not done. I'm going to go back up here and I'm going to do a subscribe button. And there it is. And I usually just put it down here. And here's the other thing. Let me just show you. You can't overlap anything. If it goes to red, it's telling you you're overlapping. So right now, this is the full length, but I know I don't want this the whole time. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to show you why in just a second. So I don't know that you're going to be able to hear this. So I'm just going to go to right here. And you notice as I get up, but you don't know how to start. Here's the key. You ready? Just so I want it actually coming in about right there. Again, I don't know if you could hear this or not, but it's what I say is just start on there. And so you notice how I slide it just like that. And I'm going to go back. And when I do, you ready? Just. And because of where I am in the frame, I might move this up just a tad. I hit save. The end screens are there. Now, a couple of other things I do. I usually copy and paste the link right here. So this is the link. It is the link forever for this video. I'm going to copy it. I typically go back to my notes for this video and I just add it right there. Here's another thing I wasn't even thinking about showing you. I'm going to move this to done. And there's all the videos I've done. And we're going to schedule it. When you click on visibility, you have these options: private, unlisted, members only, public, schedule. Again, I did a video on all of these if you want to see it. We're going to schedule this. Now, we're going to schedule this video. So by the time you watch this video will have already aired, and it's going to be scheduled on January 7th. And I usually just do 9 a.m. It doesn't really matter, but I'm just going to do 9 a.m. I'm not going to set it for a premiere. I'm not going to share it with the members yet. And then when I hit done, got to go back up. This is the most important step for everything. If I don't hit save, it ain't going to take. I hit save and it's saved. And we're back on my content page and there it is right there. 7 ways to win at YouTube if you're over 40. And you notice it's scheduled. It tells you right there the video is currently private and is scheduled to become public on January 7th, 2025 at 9 a.m. Monetization is on. There's no restrictions. That's the date it will go live. So this is technically the published date. And of course, it doesn't have any views and comments yet because we just uploaded it. Okay, something I want to point out, depending on where you are in your YouTube journey, you may have different settings over time. So if you don't see some of those, don't worry. And also, YouTube just changes things occasionally. They move things around, they rename it. So don't freak out if you don't see it or it was there and it's gone. Something I want to talk about in the next lesson are video settings. This is another one of those things that sometimes people will struggle with until you understand the difference in the type of video settings and how your videos will be seen, which can also help grow your channel. One of the things you need to think about when you upload your YouTube video is the visibility, meaning, do you make it private or unlisted or public or scheduled or members only? There's a lot of choices. So I thought in this video, what I would do is I would walk through each one of those settings, kind of give you a little bit more information about what they do and give you what I do and why to help you decide how to mark your videos for visibility when you upload them. If you want to just save a lot of time on your upload, like for example, I upload mine as unlisted. I'll explain that in just a minute why I do that. But if you want to do it as your default settings, let me show you how to set that. And keep in mind, you can change this at any time. You want to go to settings. So over on the left-hand side, and again, I'm on a desktop. You want to go to settings. It's all the way down to the bottom. Click on that. And you want to go to upload defaults. And it is exactly like it says. Right here, my visibility is set to unlisted. Notice I can make it public, private, or unlisted. I've chosen to keep mine always unlisted when I upload a video. There's nothing here or here. Just to show you what happens. Now notice the save. I'm going to put it back to unlisted. See, I've already saved that and I'm going to close it. But once you do that, then every time I upload a video, it will automatically be set to unlisted. Now let me show you how to change it on an individual video basis. So we're going to use this video right here. It's a video I did with a couple of buddies when we all hit 10,000 subscribers, and it's already set to private. So what we're going to do is we're going to click the pencil and go into the video details. And right here is where we're going to be, visibility. Now you have these options. Again, you have private, unlisted, members only, and you only have members only if you have memberships turned on. I do. If you want to join, there's a link down in the description. Public
and also schedule. So let's go through each one of these so you can kind of understand what each one does. So let's talk first about private. Private is a way to upload a video and make sure no one ever sees it. I do that sometimes. Let's say I've uploaded a video and I just want it for reference, but I want to make sure nobody ever sees it. I mark it to private. You can share privately, and when you click that, you get this box. You can invite people to look at it, but you've got to know their email address. They've got to be signed in, and you can click this notify via email. I've only done this a few times, and every time the person said they never got the email. So I kind of treat private as it's uploaded. I'm not worried about it getting views or comments or anything like that. It's just there. And at some point, if I want to flip it to unlisted, I'll flip it to unlisted. Next is unlisted. Now, if you remember in my default settings, I keep mine set at unlisted. Let me tell you first about how unlisted works. So if you have a video that's unlisted, the only way anyone outside of you can see that video is they must have the link. So for example, sometimes I'll create a video, and again, since I'm uploading it as defaulted, since I'm uploading it as unlisted, I may send it to a buddy of mine and say, hey, you want a preview of the video coming up? I'm going to release it next week or whatever. Well, by making that unlisted, he can watch it because I've sent him that link. Without that link, he wouldn't be able to see it. So that's why I do that. I'm not quite ready to make it public, but I don't want to leave it private because, again, going back to private, if I make it private and I send it to him, he's going to say, well, I can't see it, which he would be right because I didn't use the little magic box with his email address. So unlisted is a way that you can share a video without the world seeing it unless they have the link. Now, this is very important to remember. Playlists have the exact same visibility options. You can do public, private, and unlisted. Live streams the same way. I think shorts as well. I don't do shorts much anymore, but I think it's the same. If you have a playlist that is set to public, playlist would work the same way. So let's say you have a playlist set to unlisted. Nobody can see it. But let's say you've put videos into a playlist and the playlist is set to public. If you put a video in there that's unlisted, it will be seen, but only in that playlist. So I just mentioned that to say, if you've got a video that you don't want the whole World Wide Web to see for whatever reason, and it's unlisted, don't put it in a public playlist, or otherwise everybody can see it. Now let's talk about public. Whenever you make a video public, everybody can see it. Now, this is all basically on hitting save, and I probably forgot to say that, but whatever change you make here, you've got to hit save for it to take effect. When you make your video public, it is public. Anybody can see it anywhere, whether you embed it, whether you share it on your YouTube channel. And this is really important. Watch hours and view time, all of that YouTube looks at only counts on a public video. I'm going to go a little deeper on this. You may publish a video, let's say on March 1st, but you don't make it public until June 1st. YouTube considers the June 1st as your publish date. But it's not the date you uploaded, it's the date you finally made it public. And the reason is because that's when YouTube starts the counter going, if you will, that again, there's your watch hours and your views. If your video is not public, same thing goes for a live stream, then none of that will count. So it's very important if you want to have your views counted and you want to have your watch hours counted to make sure when you're ready, you mark public. Now, you may ask, well, Kevin, why not just upload it public? It's because I don't want to have to go through everything, hit save, and then bang, the video's there. A lot of times I'm uploading a video and I want to still tweak the description some, or, oh, I need to add some affiliate links in there. Oh, I need to do an end card and all this other stuff. And I can go back and do that, but I want to have it as ready and as optimized as I can. So then when it's public, all of that is there. All right, so now let's talk about scheduling a video. It's still in the same area in the visibility settings on the video. So again, I upload as unlisted. I make sure my video is as optimized as I want it to be with the descriptions and everything else on there. And then keep in mind, my video is set to unlisted. So this applies whether you do private or unlisted. When I go to schedule it, I'll go here and I'm just going to do this one. I'm going to say we're going to make this on, I'm just going to go out to October 24th. I'll leave it 10 a.m.
and I'm going to hit done. And look at this. It changed that. And you notice it's from private to public. So whenever you schedule a video, YouTube will automatically take the visibility of that, the setting, and change it to private. And then on the date and the time you've chosen, and this is a default time, on the date and time you've chosen, it makes the video public for everybody to see. Notice the save button all of a sudden is not grayed out because it's saying, hey, make sure, now is that when you want it? You can save it right here. But if you decide you don't want it, actually, let me go ahead and hit this. I'm going to hit save, and now it's, I'm going to hit save, and now it's scheduled. You can override any of these at any time. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on save or publish. I'm going to go back to private. Actually, I'm going to make it here. I'll make it private, and I'll hit done. And every time you hit done, when you change something, you're going to hit save. And now this video is set back to private. Now, if you remember, I said there's another way you can do this. You don't have to go into each video description. So if I click the pencil, I get into that. But if I go back to here, you can also change the visibility right here. If you know it says visibility, all these are public. Go right down to this one. This is the one we've been using right here. And even then it tells you, if you hover over it, it gives you kind of like a tip of what each one is. I can change this right here and the same thing. I can make this unlisted, hit save. It will do it. Members only, public, but I'm going to go back and just make it that. I'm going to cancel it. So if you don't want to go into there, like into the description, this is kind of a shortcut way of getting to the same thing. You can always change the visibility of a video at any time. You can take a public video and make it unlisted. You can take an unlisted video and make it private. You can take a public and make it private. I've done that at times. I would recommend doing that over ever deleting a video. If you delete a video, it's gone forever, for good. Goodbye. Amen. You're not going to get it back. Now, I'm going to assume when you're uploading videos to YouTube, you actually want people to see it. We've talked about settings and how to upload a video. So let's talk about the thumbnail. Because yes, the title matters and the topic matters. But if nobody clicks on your thumbnail, you're not going to get a view. This isn't about keeping them watching. This is about getting a view. So in this lesson, I'm going to share a bunch of different types of thumbnails, why I think they work, and even how these creators created them as well, just to kind of spark some ideas in your creative noggin when you're making thumbnails. All right, first is a category I'm calling real life. This is from a channel called Regretless. Now, I actually know how she shot this because I had listened to an interview with her. This creator shoots everything with her iPhones. So this thumbnail right here was shot with her iPhone. And it's fairly easy to do if you think about it. So she positions herself here. Her camper's in the background. It's slightly out of focus, not totally blurred, just because of the depth of it. But look how close she is to the lens. And it works perfect with the title, Alone and Cold, Living Off the Grid in minus 20 degrees. Very simple. This one is from Casey Neistat, one of my favorite YouTubers. 3 things I learned from 800 Days of Vlogging. Now, believe it or not, this is easier to do than it looks like. This is actually a frame right here that he has shot on the camera, maybe even a photo that he calls up, and then he's just mugging for the camera. So again, the subject matter is a little forefront, and then Casey's in the back. Again, very simple, real life. Again, you could do this with an iPhone or something like that if you wanted to. This one is from Eva Zubek. She's kind of a world traveler, if you will. This one really stood out to me. If you look at the title, it says, The Mistakes I Made This Year. But what I like about this, it's very stark. It's very simple. She's on a gray background. She's centered. But notice the words right here that she has written and then marked off. So it gives you this sense of intrigue. It's like, oh, these are the mistakes. I need to know more about this. Actually, relationships is double marked through. She's kind of emotionless. This is, to me, a great example of a thumbnail that just kind of leaps through a lot of other things. This one is from a channel called Wheezy Waiter. The title is, I tried to quit my smartphone for a year. Here's what happened. It's a great idea for a video. Very simple. He's standing again on a gray background. Doesn't have to be fancy. He's holding a phone right there. It's over a trash can right there. And now maybe the trash can was added later. I'm not really sure about that.
And the font, very simple, easy to read, no smartphone for a year, which if you think about it, smartphone for a year, no smartphone for a year. He's kind of repeating the title a little. But again, this is a simple way of taking a picture of something and then adding some text to re-emphasize what the video is about. This one is from one of my favorite channels called Peter Santinella. And if you haven't seen any of his stuff, it's phenomenal. Now, I'm almost 100% sure I know how he shot this because I watched the video. This is actually a screenshot from the video, meaning at some point during the video, he paused it and he grabbed a screenshot of this for his thumbnail. I know that Peter shoots all of his videos on a GoPro, and I've heard interviews why he does that. It's just so it's not so intrusive to the people he's talking to, which 99% of them are people you and I don't even know, which kind of makes it cool. You can even see the DJI mics there. And he actually adds, most of his is kind of about where it is. This is in rural Appalachia. This is a great video. But again, I know he did this because of the way he does it. So this is a simple screen grab that he's used for his video, which by the way has 16 million views. Okay, the next category is one I call graphic elements. So you're going to see a lot more graphic work on this. This one's from my friend Dylan Bates, who's also the Final Cut bro. If you want to learn a lot about Final Cut, I would highly recommend his channel. But the title is Top 10 Free Final Cut Pro Plugins. The word free. Well, what does Dylan highlight here? Zero. A big fat zero with a dollar sign. So right there in the smack dab in the middle of it, in a color that really pops, he's telling you free. Now, he's added other elements like these Final Cut Pro logos here that are blurred and motion. And if you look real close in the background, this is actually a timeline from Final Cut. So a lot of composited here. I'm almost positive Dylan uses Photoshop. I don't know this. You could do the same type thing in Canva, Snappa, a lot of different programs. All right, this one is from a channel called Aurelius Tingen, I think is his name. So this one is actually a really good idea. Again, the title, these 15 tools are all you need to succeed in 2025. He's cut himself out of whatever background he shot it on. He's on a purple background. There's a little glow behind him, so he pops. But notice all the logos here that he's done. Now, some of them you can tell. I know like this is Descript. I know that this is vidIQ. I know this is Hostinger because I use Hostinger myself for all my domain names. Some of these I don't know, but that's okay because all the logos which are flat get your attention. This is a very simple way of pointing out to some of the things you may be talking about. Now, this one has a lot more going on. It's from the channel Ruslan KD. The title of this one, Joe Rogan Challenged on the Resurrection of Jesus, ? Now, you've got a picture of Joe Rogan that has been cut out. You've got a picture of Ruslan right here that's been cut out. There's obviously a picture here of the cross and the tomb. Then you've got no way in bold. And this is a way to kind of emphasize something that goes along with it. A lot of stuff going on here, but again, you've got element here, element here, element here, and then element here, and there's even a background here, which actually might be Joe Rogan's background. This is probably more of an extreme example of compositing a lot of different things together. So this one's from my friend Justin Brown with Primal Video. This is AI video editing, top 5 tools we recommend. Now, something Justin does on a lot of his thumbnails, and I've heard him talk about this, is he thinks the thumbnail should really, really complement the title. So if you think about it, he's got top 5 tools. You see top 5, AI video editing tools. So this is a great example of, yes, the thumbnail can not even just complement the title, but actually add more to it. But again, if we break it down, Justin here is shot on a background that he has cut out. He's added this text here, and I think he tends to put most of his text on the right side and him on the left. So again, you have a format going. This is literally just a background he's added. This is an element, and again, these elements you can find in Canva. And then he's added some other things like, looks like clip art, kind of maybe some graphic elements of an editor's nondescript. Oh, and one other thing I want to point out, the hand, holding up 5. That is a great way to get attention. I've done this too. It just, if you were doing 3 things or 5 things, it's a great example of a way to do that. Now, this is from a channel called Scammer Payback, and all they do is go after scammers and protect people. It's really good. So the title of this one is How I Outsmarted Scammers After My $46,000. But what I like about this is, notice, again, he's cut out. Now, very dramatic lighting here. That could have been done after. Probably it was done as they did it. There's a darker background. You see a pile of cash here, and then you see $46,000 stolen. So even if you didn't see the title, this, I think, would get your attention. And they've kind of put a little glitchy effect on the titles, which, again, a lot of graphics programs can do this, even if you're not a graphic artist. So this is another example of what I call graphic elements to get your attention and pull your eyeballs in to hopefully get you to click. All right, the next group is what I call product first. It's really more about making the product the star of the thumbnail. So here's one from Ben Johnson. Now, the title of it is DJI Mic Mini Settings Unlocked Full Menu Guide. But what he's done is, and if you don't have the Mic Mini, I have that. This is the transmitter that you would hook up to your camera or your phone, and it's not that big. But I think he's done a great job here. You can kind of see his thumbs right here, but notice what's the star of this? It's the transmitter. Now, I do know for a fact that the transmitter does not have DJI Mic Mini settings on it. So he added this just to make it pop a little bit more. But I think if you are looking for this, this would get your attention. This is from Matt Diavella. Matt is a minimalist, actually did a great documentary that's on Netflix called The Minimalist. I'd highly recommend. But the title of this one is My Minimalist Travel Organization System. The reason I wanted to feature this is what's called a top-down shot. He's laid everything on a table, kind of a neutral background, and he's just laid the items out. There's glasses, camera, headphones, a book, a picture of The Rock. There's a running joke with him, a mouse, the magic mouse, and a backpack. Very simple. Again, all of these items are the star of that. So yeah, he's showing you what they are, but hopefully you'll click on it to find out more about it. It's a simple way of doing this. You could do this with tools. You could do this with, if you're a chef, so many different applications. This one's from Nate's Film Tutorials. This is actually a great video as well. My entire YouTube studio on one desk. When you look at it, if he had left all the words off, I think it would have been okay, but in one shot, in this one thumbnail right there, he has shown you his entire YouTube studio on one desk. But then he did one more thing that I think really kind of make it pop. He highlighted what each element is: light, overhead camera, microphone, monitor, camera, and don't ever underestimate the power of an arrow. And it's on a simple background. Now, he may have cut this out. I really don't know. I did watch this video. It is really good. But again, this is a way to showcase something and draw attention to it within the thumbnail. This is from a channel called Spencer's Adventures. The reason why the iPod is so popular in 2024. Again, this is about the iPod. Now, I know Spencer's in this video, but if you think about it, what's the star of it? It's the iPod. You see the hand holding it, and then he's added this text, which is very easy to read. The iPod is back with an arrow. Again, don't ever underestimate the power of an arrow. And it's very clean and just easy to see. So again, the iPod, which he's talking about, is the star of the thumbnail because that's what he's going to be talking about in the video. This is very easy to replicate. All right, the next category is interviews. I've got some examples here just in case you do interviews like a video podcast. This is from Colin and Samir, and I'll tell you why I showed this one. It's a very simple one. It's an honest conversation with the CEO of Instagram, and it says the man who runs Instagram. If I asked you, what's his name? Would you know? I know it. I think I know it. I think it's Adam Mosseri. I think that's right. Somebody can correct me on that. But if they had said an interview with Adam Mosseri, who the heck is that? So what they did is, and this is a look that they do in all of theirs. Their yellow is their color, but it's very clean. Now, even though you don't know who he is, they're telling you that this guy is in charge of Instagram. He runs it. And over here, they back it up as well. They've left off the title, they've left off his name, because if you don't know who it is, it's more confusing as opposed to, oh, this is the guy that runs Instagram. Another channel, Diary of a CEO. Now, this was an interview that he did with Simon Cowell of American Idol fan and America's Got Talent. And the title is very long, but it's Simon Cowell opens up about his heartbreaking loss and regrets about One Direction. Now, even though he uses Simon Cowell's name there, Simon Cowell is probably more known than the head of Instagram. But what did he do? You've got Simon on this side. You've got the host on this side, which I forgot his name. These are pulled actually from the video. And then in the middle, he's got a captivating title. Being alive, notice how he highlights alive, didn't matter anymore, and it pops on the black. So again, they've gone after the factor of, oh, okay, wait a minute. Even if you didn't know who Simon is, wait, being alive didn't matter anymore. You might want to watch a little bit more of it. So this is, again, a great technique to do if you do interviews. So the next one is one I call compare and contrast. So this is from the channel How to Faith Alive. Now the title is Bible Journaling, Transform My Life and My Bible, ... And by the way, it's not cut off. That's exactly how she wrote it, which is actually kind of cool. I see this a lot, and I've recommended it to people before. It's a then and now. She actually did it opposite. She did now and then. She starts with today, and she goes back to 2019. But think about this. There's a line that splits the pictures, and this is now, and this is then. But look at the face. So again, I'm pretty sure this was cut out. I'm not totally sure, but let's just say it was. She's standing holding a Bible, and she's got a kind of a face. Over here, it's a different Bible. The background is lighter, and look at the expression on her face. And you could do the same thing and flip it here. You could have the then and the now. It doesn't really matter. But again, this is a great way of showing like a transformation, if you will. The next one, a little different. It's from Sarah Dietschy. Now look at the title, How to Simplify Your Digital Life. Again, very simple. Sarah is cut out here. She's kind of got this inquisitive look, but very simple background. There's a Notion logo here, and there's an Apple logo here, but she's already kind of tipping her hand that there's a red X over Notion and there's a green green check mark over the Notes app. Darker, light. Part of that is because this pops better on dark. This pops better on white. She's even given it just a little border there. But this is a very simple format when you're wanting to compare something, which can be done with so many different things, but I'm telling you, this really pops. Next up, it is what it is. It's a rule breaker. I love ones like this. This is from the Professor of Rock. I just want you to pause for a second and look at how much is on this thumbnail. There are YouTube thumbnail gurus out there right now that are probably, their heart is like, because this breaks every rule you've been told. First of all, I couldn't even get the whole title on here. 1995 music video was so big, ... MTV quit playing it to give other bands a chance, and then there was something else there. But look at how much stuff he has got on this. Song was so popular, MTV quit playing it to give other bands a chance. His expression, I'm not even sure who this artist is. But if you go, yeah, Kevin, you can't do something like this, can I just call your attention to this video has 2 million views. And if you go check out his channel, he does this quite a bit. So the next time somebody tells you you can't, just remember the Professor of Rock. And now I want to show you something that I don't know any other way to call it than simple and effective. Believe it or not, this is a thumbnail. I don't know if you've ever seen this video before, but this is a thumbnail. I wanted to show you that before I show you the title. This is not yellow. This is from a channel called Vsauce. And again, now the video is 12 years old, but in 12 years, it's racked up 23 million views. Again, there's the thumbnail and there's the title. Why does this work? I think because it is so in contrast. When you see this right here, your brain goes yellow. And then they're like, yeah, it's not yellow. Well, 23 million people have said, tell me more. Sometimes I think simple can be better. And if you doubt that, just remember that this isn't yellow.
Now, one of the things that'll really help you on your YouTube journey is setting your YouTube channel up for success. So in this next lesson, I'm going to take you inside my YouTube studio, and I'm going to show you a lot of the settings and a lot of the tricks I do to set my channel up for success. So hopefully it sets your channel up for success too.
The first thing we're going to be talking about is your channel name, the URL. Now, you have your channel name, like mine is Kevin Colby, but there's also an @, sometimes it's called handle. Mine is @Kevin Colby. A lot of times what I see on channels is it's the default. So I'll see like Bob Smithenhauser 0792 or something like that. And it's okay, but I would recommend making sure your channel name, your URL, reflects what your channel name is. So let me show you how to do that. So here's my YouTube channel, and if you notice, there's my channel name, and here's the channel handle, the URL. You can change either one of these. You have to change them independently, but we're actually going to be talking about this right here. So we're going to go to the studio and customization. If you go over on the left-hand side, you've got dashboard, content, analytics, community, languages, and all this, and you get down to customization. This is where you would change a lot of this. So let's first do the two things. Remember, we're talking about not the name, but we're talking about the URL, this right here. So if we go here, there's my channel name. So you could put whatever you want to on yours. This is the handle. So whenever you start your channel, it's just going to default to something. So if I started a channel and I wanted to call it, Zippy Cool Videos, and that's already taken, it may go Zip Cool Videos 293. What I would recommend is, if possible, make your handle match your channel name. What happens is when you type something in here, YouTube is automatically going to tell you if it's available. And if it's not available, they're going to give you an alternative. You don't have to take it, but if it's available, you're going to get a green, all systems go. And if you notice right here, they tell you that you can add letters and numbers, but you can change your handle back within 14 days, and handles can be changed twice every 14 days. So be thinking about that. If you change it and you're like, I don't like that, you can always change it back. The key to everything we're going to talk about, is make sure you hit publish. I think this will actually say save or publish when you're done. If you don't do this, your changes won't take place when you need them to. Something else to consider is your banner image, or also called the cover art. So let me show you on my YouTube channel exactly what I'm talking about and how to change it. So we're going to go here, and this right here is the banner image. And this is the size it'll be on desktop, laptop. But when you go into your YouTube studio, again, we're in customization. We're on the first tab, says profile. Notice it says right here, banner image. And it tells you this is the image that will appear across the top of your channel. Now, YouTube, bless their heart, they do their best to show you what it's going to look like on like a huge screen like TV, desktop or laptop, and phone, which nobody in their right mind can see that. They also give you the size. Now, keep in mind the size of this is the entire image, not just this size. So what we're probably mostly interested in is right here. So whatever you create on your image, you want to make sure it fits right here. If I'm not making you dizzy with, with my mouse, this is where you want to really make sure it fits. You can remove it. You don't have to have one. I would recommend having something there. What you have on yours, it could be what your channel is about. It could be different things. I just chose to be kind of minimalistic on mine. So one of the things YouTube did on TV is if you go to your channel or any channel, the banner image, the cover art now is almost full screen. Now, I had to really kind of work with mine to get my picture right in the middle of it on desktop and laptop. So even on TV, you see a lot more of the ceiling and the ceiling fan. Again, it can fill the whole picture. So if you're just only creating something there, kind of think about the outside too. You could just put color or texture there or something like that. But again, this is a way to give your channel a little bit more pop, or maybe even define what your channel is about when somebody goes there. All right, so now let's talk about your profile pic. So let's hop on my channel. And what I'm talking about is this right here, this little picture. Now, right now it looks big because, well, we're looking at it bigger. To change this, I want to go back over here. We're still on the customization tab, and right here, I can change it or I can remove it. Now, I've seen some channels that don't have anything here. It's kind of like the, it's kind of like the placeholder head, if you know what I'm talking about. But you can put anything here, and keep in mind it's going to show up really, really small. So one of the things I did, if you notice, is I just took this picture and I just cut the background out and I added blue to it so the photo pops a little bit. Plus, it doesn't hurt that I have red glasses on, I think. The mistake I see a lot of people make is that either they take a wide shot, like a shot of like maybe their entire house, and they put it on the profile pic, or they put logos on there that are really hard to see. Keep in mind, your profile pic, which is always going to be by your channel name on YouTube, whenever you comment on a video, whenever you're searching, it's always going to be there. So, but it's going to be really, really small. We talk about thumbnails being small. These things are tiny. That's why I added blue behind my photo to kind of make it pop a little bit more. So what I would recommend is do a high contrast picture. If you've got a logo, I'm not a fan of that, but if you're just dead set about that, but if you've got an icon, let's say you do a Bible study channel for men and it's all about, the lions or something like that. Maybe you've got a cool shot of a lion there or something like that, but you want to make sure it's high contrast and easy to see, very, 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 very tiny, so it'll pop with your name. Next up is the About section. Now, there's a lot of just thoughts about this, about what you can put there, how much you can put there, put anything there, and I see the gamut now. I've seen some channels where they have nothing. I've seen where it's just a sentence or two, and I've seen it where it looks like they've literally written a dissertation. I don't think there's any wrong way or right way to do it, but I do think having something there is not a bad idea. So again, let's go back to my channel. I'm going to show you mine and then how to change it. The way to get to anybody's About, now I'm on desktop right here, is you see this More. When I click on More, this is really what I call the About. YouTube changed the way you get to it. It's a little bit harder, I think, but anyway, you still have it. Here's the description and a lot of other information here as well. So the way we get here, again, we're in the YouTube Studio, customization. You're going to do a lot on the profile. We're going to scroll down and right here, description. You can write a lot here. I forgot exactly, it says right there, 1,000 characters. And right now, what I have on there is 315. This is right now what I have. Occasionally I change it up, but for the most part, this is what I have. So if you notice right there, I'm going to show you a little trick. When I go back here, you notice it only shows you this much. And if you think about it, that goes to about right in there somewhere. So one thing I might recommend is if you have something really important you want to share in your About, don't bury it here, put it right here, because again, that's all you're going to see unless somebody clicks on it. So I could just say, like I help people over 40 get creative, and that would be fine as well. Nothing in here is clickable. So let's say I put a link in here that says, hey, you want to book me for a coaching call, and I put a link there. Nothing in your description is linkable. So just keep that in mind. But that's how you do it. And remember, anytime you change something, you always want to come up here to the right-hand corner and hit publish. Okay, so now let's talk about links. And there's a couple of different ways you can do links. You can do links and descriptions, but right now I'm talking about links on the About page that will show up on your home page. So let me show you that. Okay, so right here, notice it says kevincolby.com. I have one link, and if I click on More, you're going to see that link right here, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Currently, YouTube lets you have 14 links. I think that is insane to have that many, but it's your channel. You do you. All right, we're going to go back to the YouTube Studio, customization, profile. We're going to scroll all the way down, and you get to right here that says links, add link. Now, it tells you right here, share external links with your viewers. They will be visible on your channel profile and About page. Now, let me just say something about links. I see people, I've seen it in my comments, say, you can't link to external places because YouTube doesn't like that and they'll shadow ban you. And keep in mind, though, it tells you share external links with your viewers. YouTube wouldn't be letting you do that if it wasn't okay. Now, you're responsible to where you link to. I would be very careful about where you link to, but yes, you can put links there. I just wanted to get past that urban myth thing. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to add a link and also give it a title, which is required. So right here, I'm just going to say my Amazon store. I could say anything I want. And here I've already copied one. I'm just going to pop it in right there. Now notice right here, the publish went to dark, to black. If I don't click that, this isn't going to save, but I'm going to go ahead and put it right here. I'm going to hit publish rather. I'm going to go back to my home page and I'm going to refresh. And look, it says, and one more link. If I click here, there it is right there. And if I actually click on that, it's going to take you to my Amazon store. In fact, that takes you to my website. So that's how you do that. And again, you can have up to 14. I think it's a little too many. You can also change the order of these. So let's say I wanted my Amazon store first. Notice it changed the order of that. Again, I need to hit publish. I come back here. I'm going to close that. I'm going to refresh. And notice it changed it. And there's the links. Now, a tip is if you're launching a program, you're launching a course, like I recently launched a course about making YouTube thumbnails. So I could put that there. If you have a free download, a coaching offer, or you've created something, you might want to consider making that first link that link, because that's the one that shows up before you have to like click to see more. So there's a tip for you. All right, next up, video descriptions. This is literally what appears under each video. I used to put so much stuff in my descriptions. If you go back and look at some of my older videos, there was just a ton of stuff there. Since then, I've kind of gone to more of the minimalistic approach because quite honestly, I do appreciate the fact that YouTube lets us put things down there that are clickable. They are clickable, even though they don't look like they're clickable when you put them in. I wonder about having too much stuff there, like giving you too many choices. So I try and limit it to like maybe my coaching, my newsletter. I just launched a course. I'll put that there, you know. And then if there's anything specific in a video that I want to call attention to, I'll put a link to that. Now that's how I do it. Oh, and I also put disclaimers for links, especially if I have links, especially if there's any affiliate links in there or Amazon or things like that. I need to disclose those. And even if I didn't have to, I should anyway. It's just the thing to do. So let me show you how to make your default settings, your upload settings, default settings, so you don't have to do it over and over and over again. Okay, so in my YouTube studio, we're gonna go not to customization, but down to settings. Click here. Now, here's where we're gonna end up, upload defaults. But before we do that, we wanna go to channel and feature eligibility. These need to be enabled for this to happen. I'm gonna show you. You notice this right here. It gives you the options here, what happens when you enable it. It tells you exactly what to do. You keep going, custom thumbnails, advanced features. Right here, external links and video descriptions. You have to have all three of these enabled to be able to put links in your description that are external links that are linkable. So make sure this is all enabled. It's very easy to do. YouTube tells you exactly what you need to do. Now we're going to go to upload defaults, and right here, this is what I have as my upload defaults. I have something about a course, you can book a call, my newsletter, and this right here. This is my disclaimer on affiliates. What that means is anytime I upload a video, all of this information will automatically be there. All right, so let me show you what it's gonna look like. So here's a video right here. It's actually a funny story about the time I auditioned to go to New York to meet the crew of 24. It's kind of cool, but notice this right here. Now it's changed a little, but all of this automatically was pulled in from my default settings when I uploaded this video. I didn't have to type any of this in again. Notice, see right there, I had something about my video desk setup. See, sometimes I don't even follow my own advice. But if I didn't want that there, I can just delete it. Now watch what happens. When I delete that, the save button came on. If I do undo change, so this is where you'd always, what do you want to add here, you've got to do that. But again, this keeps me from having to type this over and over again. And believe it or not, all of these are clickable on the video. But if I want to add something, I can say my audition to go to see 24. And if I hit save, it just pulled that in. Now, if we go to this video right here, which is private, but I'll be able to see it. Look at that right there. Those are exactly what we saw in there and are linkable, and that's just what I put in here. So again, those are your descriptions. Don't sleep on descriptions. You want something there. Now let's talk about something that's easy to do that can actually help your channel as well, and that's playlists. All playlists are just a collection of videos. They can be grouped however, You can have 2 or 3 videos in a playlist. I'm not even sure what the limit is. You probably could get too many in there. So let me show you how to create a playlist, and then let me show you some of my playlists. Now, to create a playlist, you go up to the Create button up in the right-hand corner, and it says right there, New Playlist. So I'll just click on that, and let's say I want to do something about free Mac apps. I can give it a description or not. I can make sure I want it public or private or unlisted. I'm going to make it public because I want people to see it. You can change the default order of how the videos are seen, and you can change this at any point. And then you can do add video. So if I do add videos, what it's going to do is it's going to call up a bunch of videos. And you notice it kind of stops, and it's like, well, Kevin, you've got more videos than that. I do. So I'm going to do right here, I know I've got some videos on QuickTime. So I could do that, and I'll do done. And right now I've got one video in there. Okay, if I want to do another one, let's say I want to look for Apple Notes. There's that. And you know what? Let me just go ahead and take this one right there because it is talking about continuity camera. And I add those. And when I hit create, it's just made this playlist. And you can even go in and do some more here. If I click edit on YouTube up here, I have this option. I can always change the title of it. I can change the privacy setting. Now I can add more videos. I can change the name of it. I can even share this playlist too, which again is very powerful. So you can also change the order of this, but we're just going to leave this alone for now. I'm going to jump back over here and I'm going to go to playlist. So right now here's on content. This is everything. This video, shorts. I have shorts turned off on my channel. Did a whole video about that if you want to see it. Those are the lives, posts, and playlist. There's the playlist we just made. But these are other playlists I have. Some are public, some are private. Now that's how you create a playlist. Let me show you some cool things you can do with them. So back in the studio, okay, so we're gonna go back to customization, but instead of profile, we're gonna go home tab. And let me just show you so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You notice it says member recognition, for you, videos, and popular videos. If I go back to the home page, you see member recognition, says our members, for you, videos, and popular videos. You can change the order here. So for example, let's say I want popular videos above videos. Notice the publish went dark. That means, hey, Kevin, you need to click this if you want this saved. So I'm going to hit cancel. Now there's a couple of things you can do with playlists. One, you will have this tab here. Once you make one playlist, you're going to have this tab on your home page. So if I click here, you're going to see all the playlists that I've done. Now, I'm going to see some that are even unlisted and private. You won't see those. You'll only see the public ones. But these are all the ones I have. We can also create sections like this of playlist. Let me show you how to do that. We're going to go here, and they're going to appear down here. Now, YouTube tells you right here, you can have up to 12 sections. 1, 2. So I could have 10 more sections. Again, it's up to you. Right now, I've gone kind of on the minimalist side. I'm going to do add section, and I can do single playlist, and it lets me choose what I want. So let's say I'm going to add YouTube channel tips right there. And let's just add another one too. So we're going to go to single playlist, and let's say I want iPhone tips. And that's all I'm going to do right now. If I hit publish, and then I go back over here, and I'll have to refresh to see it. Now watch what happens when I scroll down. Those playlists are there. I can control the order these are in. Typically, what I do is I put the most popular first and flow down. Not always. Notice this one now is bigger than that one, so maybe I need to change it. Or sometimes I do it in a logical progression. Let me show you what I mean by that. Like, for example, I have a playlist called How to Start a YouTube Channel. If you click on it, you'll see all the videos. And I've done my best to kind of lead somebody through the progression. So like, what is your niche? How to find ideas? How to start a channel. So you can kind of see my thinking here. Hopefully it makes sense. I tried to lead somebody through that's never done YouTube before, needs a refresher, of going all the way through the process, and occasionally in there, okay, here's what you need to know about settings and things like this. This is an entire playlist that I can put on my channel. In fact, let's just do that. I'm going to go back out here. I'm going to go to customization. I'm going to go home tab, and I've got these, but let's say I want to add the one that says how to start a YouTube channel. And let's say I want that very at the top, even above videos. Remember, I've got to hit publish. I'm going to go back to my channel, hit refresh, and look what happens. right there. And again, this is not a bad way of making sure you have some of your important videos here. If you want to lead them to certain, if you'd rather people know this about, hey, I want to show you how to start a YouTube channel far more than what my popular videos are, that's how you can create one and put it on your homepage. Now, another tip, rather than have like up to 12 playlists, let's say you want to do specialized playlists, kind of like a theme within a playlist, if that makes sense. Let me show you, and I think it'll make more sense. You go to Add Section, and you go to Multiple Playlist. So what's going to happen is I'm going to make a playlist of playlist. So I'm going to call this About YouTube. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to populate it with only YouTube playlists. So there's YouTube channel tips, how to start a YouTube channel. I've got one here on YouTube home studio setups, and there's another one, how to use the YouTube editor. Actually, before I hit done, I can change these. So let's say I want to move the order around, and I do this, and I hit done. There it is right there. I'm going to hit publish. I'm going to go here, hit refresh, and watch this. So notice it gives you it looks like a book. So now what I've done is I've done one category on my channel page, but you've got playlists in here about YouTube. So that's another way. I like this way better. It's giving you more options without just it going over, on and on and on and on again. But those are how you do playlists and also kind of populate your homepage. Okay, look, I know I said 8, but how about a bonus one? Let's talk about an email address. Again, going back into the studio, let me show you what I'm talking about. On my channel, when you click on More, View Email Address. Now, this isn't a hidden address. I don't know why YouTube does this because you only have to have one. This is my business address, but let me show you exactly how to put one there. We're going back to Customization, Profile. You may have seen it when we were scrolling through here. Right here, Contact Info. Let people know how to contact you with business inquiries. This is really the point of this, but obviously you can do whatever you want. This is my business email address. I put it here. When I hit save, it will always be here. What I would recommend is you never, ever, ever, ever use the email address that you started your channel with. I did a whole thing, talked about this in How to Protect Yourself Online. You ought to watch that, and I get more into that there. But that is a way to add an email here if you want businesses or anyone to contact you.
That was a lot of information, but now you hopefully have a better idea of all the things it takes to do YouTube. Don't be intimidated by any of this. You don't have to learn it all at once. You don't have to do everything day one. Just go back to this video and revisit the parts you need to just to help you keep creating, which is the goal, getting your gifts out there to the World Wide Web. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great today.